It's the bottom link from a Triumph Stag. Now, this connects the crossmember subframe arm that goes underneath the engine to the base of the strut, or the base of the kind of hub plate that goes on the base of the strut. That's the drag link that goes up towards the main chassis rail. It's not a particularly common fault, this one, but it's one I'm aware of. The customer was complaining he was getting a very, very, very faint knocking sensation coming from the front left-hand corner, and also some very, very, very vague steering feel. It's this ball joint here every bloody time, and it's a bastard to identify as well. This one, as you can see, is as floppy as a dick in a bucket. So really what happens is the weight of the car and the strut is pushing down on this thing, so any play in this ball is going to be pushed against the base of the socket here, and when you pry between here and the base of the strut, you can feel just the tiniest bit of movement. But in a nutshell, if you can feel any play whatsoever in this joint, it's dead, and you need to replace it. So I'm going to press this chappy out. Right, basic tools needed here. I need to get the boot off. I need to get a circlip off here. And then I need to work out how I'm going to press this chappy out. This thing presses in from below, so you push it in that way, and there's a circlip that holds it in place. The new joint here comes with a circlip. Look at that, very nice. Of course, the most essential tool is coffee. Yummy. And then really flat blade screwdriver. See if I can walk. This ball joint, by the way, is split as well, which is possibly the reason why. I don't know, maybe there's been dirt ingress or whatever in there. Could just be old. It's very floppy though. When I first took this off the car, by the way, when you take this off, the easiest way to do this is to disconnect the steering track end. When you've got the steering track end out, you should then be able to rotate the strut right the way around, so you can access the nut on this. Undo the nut, undo this nut and bolt for the drag link, take the nut and bolt out for the drag link, bang the base of the strut in order to release the taper here, undo this nut and bolt, and yeah, it also helps, I guess, if you take out the anti-roll bar link as well, but then it just comes off. You don't need to, there's no need to disturb brakes or anything else. Oh dear, we're going to watch me stab myself now. And there we go. This might come off, this might not. I can't find the end of it. There it is. Pissing down with rain again. We're not even April yet. So find one end of the wire clip and walk it around the ball joint a couple of times. There we go, it's off. Now, there is grease in there, which I'm surprised about. That is the first surprise. There is grease in there. Oh, come on. It's because this clip at the top here is so tight. It's actually stuck on the shaft. There we go. We're out. Cap off, and then circlip should come out. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they're a bit rusted in. This one has come out on one edge, which is good because it gives me a start, and then all I really do is continue to work my screwdriver, flathead, paint tin opener around the edge here. So this is not even big enough to open a paint tin, this screwdriver. We could have been a bit better prepared for this, I don't know. It actually looks like there's two circlips on here. I did put some release penetrant on here, but let's get some bit more on it. specialist penetrants. Just let that soak in for a second. Right, in this particular case, this shim is not being very helpful, I'm afraid. So just mounted it into the vise. Give it a... Right, now it's moving. There we go, it's off. One giant circlip. Moving you back over here again. Now, what I need to do next is to push this bastard out. Now, I've got some giant extra length sockets, which I'll try and fit over the top of it and push it out intact. What you might need to do, though, is to slice off the top of the ball joint here. Just cut it off with an angle grinder or something that then gives you enough to then press down on this face here. I'm going to go and see what I've got that lines up with this, and you're going to come with me. Right, getting a bit creative here. Because basically I need to find some way of supporting the arm, because I need to be pushing that out. That sort of fits quite neatly in there. If I balance that up against the side here, that's going to keep that relatively level. And then I've got this ancient set of giant but thoroughly useless impact sockets, and they're useless largely because they're 12 point. And they just don't work for me. We're having a bit of a problem here with gravity. Right, what's that one like? Do you know, that might just about work. It's just a little bit too long though. It's getting stuck at the end there. So we'll go for the slightly larger one. We'll see what happens. Otherwise I'm just going to cut the neck off the... But that's getting stuck on the end as well. So I'm just going to chop the end off it and be done with it. I've just found one of these that I was looking for as well. Look at that. Right, so angle grinder. Let's just chop the thread off that. There we go. Mr. Thread has gone. Now, Mr. Socket fits on there. In fact, Mr. Smaller Socket might fit on there now. That's better. Let's go with that one. Or do we want to go with that one? I don't think it makes a whole lot of busting difference, to be quite honest. But really, I need to now... Do I need to move the whole rig further up? Because basically now I'm going to have to pump this thing about a week before it actually meets up. I don't know. Where can you stand and watch this debacle unfold? Where can you watch from? Right, another observation here. Because it's more or less impossible to support this edge of the joint safely on the press, I'm going to do the same thing as I do with the axle A-frame ball joints. I'm just going to slice off a few millimetres on this edge with the trusty angle grinder, just to create myself a large flat edge that I can work with. Like that. And that's given me about another 4 or 5 mil on the edge there that I can play with. So, hopefully, that's going to be enough. If it isn't, I don't know. Well, we'll do something else, I guess. It's not very helpful, is it? Right, okay, now, that's no good, that's no good, that now works. So what I'm basically doing is I'm looking at the space I've got available and which press I can put on there that actually clears, I don't even know if you can see this, that clears the actual joint itself, which is that one. I know that clears it, I know that clears it, so we'll go with the original setup, but with that little notch cutouts. I reckon that will just about do it. I reckon, he reckons, we reckon. I reckon that should do it. Right, okay, now move the press along. Sockets is on there. Because I've moved the shelf up, we only need one socket now. If you're going to use sockets, folks, make sure they're impact resistant. You don't want stuff shattering on you now, do you? Right, let's just set this thing up now. because I want to be pushing straight down the middle of the press and onto the piece. Just get it all lined up. While there's sort of weight on it, it makes life a lot easier than just lining shit up. Right, here we go. And that is just pushing it up like that. Piece of piss. Right, so really that was just a case then of supporting it correctly. And once it was supported correctly, by taking that edge off, that pops straight out. And into the recycle bin we go. Now, press the new one, it's going to be a shitload easier. It says that, however, we might have some challenges here. Let me work out how I'm going to press the new one in. I'll come back to you and I'll show you. Right, the sockets are just not deep enough. In fact, if I just double check that, because there is one larger socket. I've just noticed in the box down here, the problem is that when I'm here, I can't push that joint right into the socket. So all I'm going to end up doing there is, as I press it in, I'll knacker the thread up on the end. So, on the end of one of my scaffold bars, my breaker bars, I found this piece of tube, which I liberated, and it looks like that will make the absolute most perfect drift whatsoever, because the joint fits neatly inside it. The challenge is you're going to be pressing in that way, you see, so how you support the bar is always going to be the challenge. So let's release that, move that on there, put that there. And more or less there. Look at that. Now, if I put that there like that, do we think it'll work? Right, take it to load. There we go. Shouldn't take that much to press it in. There it goes. Push that right down. Right, let's start to put some load on it now. I think that's down as far as it's going to go. Pressure off. Well done, tube. And that's done the job actually really nicely. Bit of tube. So where's the nut gone? There's the nuts. Let me go and just double check this thing does turn as I would expect it to. So we'll take Mr. Torchy, he needs probably charging up. We'll take Mr. Coffee, and we'll take you. Oh, back into the workshop. Oh. Yes, it does move. It's just really tight, as I would expect it to be. So it operates beautifully. Oh, I think that's good. Right, okay. So with that in mind, and it does move, it's just not nowhere near as loose and sloppy as the old one. Right, so you can come back down here again, Richard. Pay attention. What we need to do is put the circlip back on, but what I generally try and do is put a little bit of grease around the joint where the circlip is going to sit, only because it just makes life a bit easier for the next person down the line. Isn't that nice of me? Thank you, Mr. Scaffold Bar. There we go. Lovely. Right, circlip. Get yourself some decent internal and external circuit pliers. You can get two sets if you wanted to, but I just find one set of decent pliers will do the job beautifully. There we are, and we're in. And that is ready to go back on. I'm going to pop that on Thursday. It is very tight, but as you've seen, it moves. It's fluid. I just think it's new. Good. Right, job done.